Hey everyone! I hope you had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. I stayed in New York City and had zero plans, which was wonderful and honestly exactly what I needed after a pretty crazy few weeks. I wanted to be able to make sure that I could sleep in every day, which I did, which was wonderful. And I ran a few errands and just caught up on a few things around the apartment that I was desperate to do, but I just hadn't really had time to do with work and everything. So yeah, I think every weekend should be a 3-day weekend. On Saturday, it was pretty gross. It was cold and windy and rainy, so I spent most of the day just in my apartment. I caught up on some sleep, which was nice. I slept in a ton, and I read in bed, and I answered emails in bed, and I did some blogging from my desk. I didn't stay in bed all day, but I eventually made my way to Barnes & Noble, which is dangerous because it's just down the street from me, and I have a tendency to go there all the time and spend way too much money on books, but I feel like since books, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm just gonna keep justifying that to myself. But apparently it was not the only one in New York City with the idea to spend the rainy day inside the Barnes & Noble, because it was packed, and not in a fun way. It was honestly just like you had to push, and not really push, but like you had to really like maneuver your way around people, and there were babies that were crying everywhere because they clearly were just like stuck indoors and just wanted to be outside playing, so that wasn't exactly very fun. So like all my trips to Barnes & Noble, I end up walking out with things I don't need, because I tend to go in without really needing anything. Quite excited about the 4 books I picked up. The first one, which I have gotten so many comments on Instagram, and people have sent me emails and stuff recommending it, which is great because I, value other people's opinions, especially people who read my blog. So this one is Girls in White Dresses by Jennifer Close. So I am really excited to read this one. I think this one's gonna be the first one on my list. Right now I'm reading The Hobbit, and I'm about like halfway through, so once I'm done with that, I'll move on to this one. And the cover is just so cute. Sorry, but I definitely judge books by their covers. And I got this one too, which is Being Friends with Boys. I think it's just like a teen read, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, I really like teen reads because they're really quick and easy and generally have like sugary plot lines, which you don't really have to do a lot of thinking, so they're great for subways. And then I got this Jodi Picoult book, and I'm obsessed with her. I read all of her books. I think my favorite books that she wrote are The Pact and My Sister's Keeper. I think she's just a really smart writer and incorporates, moral issues and religious issues and justice and all this like stuff that you don't really like want to think about. And then when you're reading her books, you can't really decide like who's right or who's wrong, because kind of everyone's right, and it's sort of like all these gray areas, and it's just, I love them. I got this one called The Mud Woman. So confession, I really like weird, creepy stuff, I don't know, like scary movies and stuff like that. So I'm excited for this one because it seems like a little bit weird. But it also talks, like, this was like this real true selling point for me, was that it talks about how she's eventually going to grow up and like have to deal with like breaking the glass ceiling. And I guess since working at Labor League, like that concept of like being a working woman and what choices do you make as a woman and all that stuff is something that I'm really interested in personally. So we'll see how this one goes. The cover is just like a little too weird for me, but we'll see if I even get through it. It's kind of long. Yeah, so that's that, and I'm really, really interested to hear what you're reading, and always looking for new recommendations for books. And I just honestly constantly read between the subway and just being in bed, and it's like how I unwind at night when I have like no screen time, because otherwise I just get caught up in work. So I have to shut down all of my laptops and my computer and my, tablets and my iPhone, and just open up a book and read, because it shuts my brain off and like lets me fall asleep a lot quicker. So leave a comment on this video, and definitely let me know what you're reading, because I'm super interested and I'm always looking for new books to add to my list.